We are friends.
With
Adventures. Hi, I'm Alden.
I'm Will.
I'm Francis.
This is a new series that we are going to pair with ChattyAF, where we talk about our travels abroad. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to ask these two lovely chaps here about Cambodia.
Cambodia.
Ooh, interesting topic.
We are going to start off with the coolest country, Cambodia. And specifically, I wanted to ask about your time in Angkor Wat. There are a lot of temples, but if you had to pick a favorite part of this, historic area, what would you pick?
Yeah, so I've been to Cambodia twice, Angkor Wat twice, and so my favorite, the first time with my students actually, would probably be the Tomb Raider Temple. What was that called again?
The Tomb Raider Temple.
The Tomb Raider Temple. That was really cool, just seeing the trees run through the temple. Also, being there with students was a really unique experience for me. It was really hot, 90 degrees.
And which students were these? Like from which?
High school students.
Okay.
So I taught at a high school the past 4 years, and so the last 2 years I've been taking them on international trips. And so for the last one, last summer, so 2024, we went to Southeast Asia and Angkor Wat specifically.
Very cool.
So that was really cool. And then this time when I went during winter break, it was Bayon. Bayon was really cool.
Bayon, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously Angkor Wat is amazing, but I want to highlight all these other temples too. So I highly recommend Bayon.
Okay, sweet. And how about you, Will?
Ooh, so I was a very big fan of the main temple at Angkor Wat. That's sort of the obvious one.
Yeah,
It's the largest one. It's
yeah.
the one that's on the flag of the country. It's very important to them. Another one I really enjoyed is they have several red clay temples around because most of the stones used to build the Angkorian temples were like pulled from a mountain. They look like granite. They're not granite, but it's that color of stone, sort of gray stone. But the actual stone in the area around Angkor is red clay, so the ground is all red. So they have several bright red temples that are very striking. That was probably my favorite. So I spent 3 full days going to all of these temples. That was my whole day. Every day was getting on a tuk-tuk and going around to all the different temples. Ooh. And I feel like I could go back for another week and just go to different temples. The scale is difficult to describe of Angkor Wat. Even just the first temple is exceptionally large. I believe it's the largest one of the largest religious sites in the world. But the actual expanded area around Angkor, that whole area is unbelievably large. So yeah, I did 3 days. I could do another week. How long were you there for?
I was also there for 3 days as well, both times. Tuk-tuk is cool, but I also recommend a scooter or a moped. That was a really cool experience, just being able to like kind of go. I mean, I guess with the tuk-tuk you get to go at your own pace, but just being on a scooter and just like seeing it from a scooter point of view was really cool. But I also, speaking of temples that are not as like well known, as I was walking, we found this trail that led up to a temple, and a lot of people watch the sunset from that temple. I like don't know where it is. It was just along from Angkor Wat to Bayon. Yeah, so somewhere there, like you'll find this really gorgeous temple. Kind of, you have to hike up maybe like 20 minutes, and everyone's there for sunset. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic. Sorry, you were going to say?
Yeah, I was just say one of the exceptional things about that area is you're in a controlled jungle basically. So it's a jungle, but it's a very managed jungle. So there's always like amenities around you. You're never very far from a road, but you do get some semblance of like wild sort of areas around you. Like there's monkeys everywhere. You run into monkeys a lot. Very aggressive monkeys like in Taiwan. There's, large insects. There's huge rivers running around. Some of them are man-made.
I was going to say man-made mostly.
Yeah, significant amounts of man-made ancient reservoirs, which are exceptional. But just the scale of the nature and the ability to interact with both these man-made structures and nature, I think, is a really unique aspect, especially considering a lot of the areas around Angkor and around Cambodia have been deforested so heavily, as that this is some area of remaining forest where you can still see like what is even in a managed circumstance, what it does still look like, which a rare opportunity. I do think that Angkor is something that is going to change dramatically in the next decades to come because
How so?
I went to Thailand also on the same trip. Not to go too deep into Thailand,
Yeah.
but their temple, they have similar temples from the same era. They have Angkorian temples actually made by the same empire, but they are much more managed. You can't go on the rock. You can't touch the temple. You can't go through the actual doors. You're essentially on an elevated platform with fences around you where you go through sort of, you can't really get that close to everything because they're focused on preservation.
Got it.
Whereas Angkor is almost entirely feels unmanaged. You can do anything. You can go up to, there's very few places you can't walk into. Even areas that really feel like you probably shouldn't be able to go into.
Yeah.
And some of them are very, very small and you can just be very close to it and be completely by yourself. And I think that's the kind of thing that's great to experience, but in mass tourism, it's probably under a lot of pressure, I can imagine. So I think go there before it changes.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
I feel like a lot was changing. Even when I went in the summer of 24 to just, 6-7 months later, it just feels like a lot is happening. There's just roads being built, all the like lamps and just it feels like it's developing really quickly. So I am very curious to see what it's like in just even 2-3 years, like what regulations, because you're right, I don't think there are. And I know, I don't know how strict they were, but even going into these temples, I saw people like wearing shorts and like, just
the dress code is not
it wasn't regulated,
enforced as much.
Exactly, it wasn't
in other
enforced.
Places.
Like they tell you, but I was just in some other places like Myanmar, when I was in Yangon, they were like there was a guard in the front, and just like if you weren't in the correct dress
like
code,
completely just turned away.
Exactly. So it is interesting.
And there's even the sadder side of that is like used to see like people have carved their names or scratched parts of it,
that's
defaced stuff, and that's just the reality of mass tourism, and it's something that if it's not managed, then these things do get damaged. Anyway, too much of a dour note.
Anyway, how did you get to Angkor Wat?
So to get to Cambodia from Taiwan, I flew direct EVA Air from Taipei to Phnom Penh. Then I took a bus. Oh, that's a good question.
We're trying to.
USD was a little less than 200 USD.
Oh, so that's not bad.
No, it was not bad at all. Okay. But that was just one way. Not round trip. So
okay.
Got it. I could have. There's cheaper routes. You can go through other countries, but I thought I wanted to go direct. It's a very nice direct flight. EVA Air, good airline. Thumbs up. And then I took a bus from Phnom Penh, which is about 6 hours. Very affordable, very clean, very on time, quick, efficient.
Yeah. And how much was the bus?
Not expensive. I think it was about maybe 600 or 700 NTD, something like that.
Okay,
yeah. First 6 hours.
That's
like it's pretty all right. And we had lunch provided by the bus. We had it was a fancy bus. They had like a chauffeur. It was like a flight attendant basically, like on the bus.
Was there KTV on the bus like here in Taiwan?
Unfortunately, there was not. But they did have Wi-Fi.
Did you have a movie? No. Like a TV screen?
We had Wi-Fi the whole time though.
Cool.
And it was luxury. It was like one of those like 3-seat wide buses. So you just have like a solo giant seat by myself. Yeah. Excellent. No, it was really great.
Yeah, I flew through Hanoi this time, and the first time in June I flew through Ho Chi Minh. Both very cheap. So highly, it's probably, I'm thinking the cheapest through Vietnam, just because Vietnam is a big airport, and then you kind of like go to Siem Reap or the capital.
What airline did you use?
Vietnam Airs.
Vietnam Air?
Airlines.
Oh, okay.
Vietnam Airlines.
Is it like Vietjet or is it?
No, Vietnam Airlines.
Vietnam goes through Hanoi, I think, and Vietjet goes through Ho Chi Minh.
Oh,
okay. Got it.
Yeah, when I got to the airport, it was like super empty. And then I guess you didn't go to the airport, but the airport's new.
It's a new one in Siem Reap, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They moved it, so it just seems like a lot of roads are being built and like kind of connects everywhere. Really cool.
Yeah, and I know only a little bit about Cambodian food, so I wanted to also ask like what were some of the like food options that you tried that were like bomb?
Sure, I can start with that.
Yeah.
They eat a lot of fish in Cambodia, of course. They have a significant seaside culture as well as
the Mekong River.
the Mekong runs straight through
Mekong
up
River.
Phnom Penh. I don't think it goes to Siem Reap, but it goes through Phnom Penh.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it doesn't
yeah,
go.
yeah,
There's
I
a
don't
Siem
think-
Reap River that's separate. Anyway,
Right,
but
yeah.
so there's a lot of historic reliance on like fish and seafood and whatever can be fished out of the Mekong. So one of the things I had is a Cambodian style curry. Fish amok is what it's called. That's very good. It's similarly spiced to Thai food, but Cambodian food is a lot less like hot or strong, and it uses a lot more unusual spices, things that you wouldn't necessarily find so much in Thailand. It's things like they have a special type of pepper that they only grow in kampot pepper, and things that you get out of the jungle. They call them jungle greens, the kind of things that. Yeah, it was more rural and more kind of. It's very interesting. It's like a milder version of Thai food. Yeah, so it's like a Thai curry but with white fish. Yeah, that was very nice.
I had a lot of spring rolls, really fresh. But what was really unique, in the summertime, I had ants.
Oh! Ew!
Pieces. It was crunchy. It was, I don't know. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't know.
You eat the whole ant?
Yeah, it's just. Yeah.
Is it like fried?
It's
Is it
fried.
like-
Yeah, it's fried. Crunchy. So that's why it's crunchy. I don't really remember too much in terms of food because that's not like what I'm usually seeking out when I'm traveling.
Gotcha.
But in general, yeah, the food was really fresh and just really delicious, cheap. They accept USD, which is also nice. So it was really easy to just compare. I'm like, oh wow, spring rolls were like
Do they have
$4.
the rules for the USD
Yes.
that they have to be very crisp?
Yeah, they have
and
to
if
be
there's
in
any like
mint condition,
fading
yeah,
or like tears, like
it is.
no, I
It's
can't
super
accept
crazy.
that.
They just like turn back anything besides like a perfect bill.
Yeah.
But they accept USD for all our US audience.
Yeah, if you have them crisp, if you
Yes.
can get them fresh.
Yeah.
Cool. So, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us here on
Friends.
With
Adventures. We'll catch you next time.